All right, today we're going to talk about one of the most important doctors in all of history. Seriously, this is a guy who built the very foundations of modern medicine, but he also held on tight to one of the biggest scientific mistakes of his time. This is the story of Rudolf Virchow's incredible revolution and his one giant blind spot. I mean, just think about that for a second. To us, that sounds, well, obvious, right? But for almost all of human history, that idea was completely radical. People thought disease was a punishment, or maybe some kind of cursed fog, or just a mysterious imbalance in the universe. And that man was a German physician named Rudolf Virchow. To really get how revolutionary his work was, we first have to take a look at the very strange, very old medical world he was about to completely turn upside down. So, before Virchow came along, medicine was, well, it was stuck. For centuries, it was totally dominated by a single, ancient, and deeply, deeply flawed theory. Well, they looked all the way back to the ancient Greeks and to a theory about these fundamental fluids that were supposed to be running through our bodies. So this was called the humoral theory. The idea was that your health was all about the perfect balance of four fluids, or humors. You had blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. So let's say you had a fever. That meant your body was too hot and dry. And the cure? You treat it with opposites. A doctor would literally prescribe you cold and moist foods like cucumbers. And this was the cutting edge of medicine for 1,500 years. But then, Virchow showed up with his microscope and an idea that was about to shatter everything. This right here. This is the Latin phrase that changed everything. Omnicellula a cellula. It means every cell arises from another cell. And that's not just some poetic line. It's the bedrock principle of all modern biology. And this gets to the absolute heart of his big idea: cellular pathology. Virchow basically said, hey, disease isn't an imbalance of weird fluids, and it's not even a whole sick organ. It's a problem that starts in one tiny place: the cell. If you want to understand an illness, you have to look at the body's smallest living parts. Now, it's really important to get this right. Big scientific ideas almost never just pop out of nowhere. Virchow wasn't actually the very first person to publish this idea. That credit goes to another scientist, Robert Remak. But, and this is a big but, it was Virchow who saw its true power, who championed it, and who used it to build the entire field of modern pathology from the ground up. And you gotta understand, this one simple idea had huge consequences. With it, Virchow didn't just tweak medicine, he basically wrote its entire modern dictionary. I mean, just look at this list. The sheer scale of his influence is kind of mind-blowing. Ever heard of leukemia? Yeah, Virchow named it. Thrombosis? Embolism? Him too. Chromatin? Ischemia? Zoonosis? The list goes on. He wasn't just peeking at diseases through a microscope, he was defining the very words that doctors still use every single day. And he didn't just stop at naming things, not by a long shot. Take this, Virchow's triad. It clearly lays out the three main things that have to happen for a dangerous blood clot to form. And this isn't just some historical footnote. This is a fundamental concept that is taught to every single medical student today. Okay, so here's why this all matters to you right now. Every time a doctor takes a biopsy to check for something like cancer, they are literally using Virchow's playbook. They take a tiny piece of tissue, they stick it under a microscope, and they look for problems at the cellular level. That whole process, that is a direct legacy of his work. But here's where things get really interesting. Virchow wasn't just looking at tissues through his microscope. He believed his medical philosophy applied to, well, to all of society. This quote from him says it all. For Virchow, there was absolutely no line between the health of one person and the health of the community they lived in. He believed a doctor's job didn't just stop at the hospital door. I mean, just get a load of this. In 1848, the government sends him to figure out a typhus outbreak. His diagnosis? It wasn't a microbe, it was poverty. His prescription? Not some new medicine. It was full democracy, universal education, and major social reform. He saw social inequality as a pre-existing condition, and he told the government in no uncertain terms that they were responsible for it. And the thing is, he actually got results. By proving that a nasty little parasite in pork was making people sick, he fought for and got the world's first meat inspection laws passed in Berlin. That's a huge public health victory that saved who knows how many lives. So, okay,
we've got this guy, the father of pathology, a pioneer of public health. He sounds perfect, right? Well, even a certified genius can have a massive, massive blind spot. This slide really sets the stage for the biggest scientific fight of the 19th century. On one side, you've got Virchow and his cellular pathology. Disease comes from the inside, from the body's own messed up cells. And on the other side, you've got Louis Pasteur with his brand new germ theory. Disease is caused by tiny invaders from the outside.
So you have to ask, right? Why would the guy who looked closer at the human body than almost anyone else just refuse to see these germs? Well, it wasn't just stubbornness. His entire life's work was about proving that social conditions, poverty, bad sanitation, were what created disease. He was terrified that if you could just blame everything on a single invisible germ, it would give politicians a free pass to ignore the inequality he fought so hard against. In a way, his powerful social conscience became his own scientific blind spot. Now, in the end, yeah, of course, Louis Pasteur was proven right. Germs absolutely do cause infectious diseases. But that fact doesn't just erase Virchow's monumental legacy. But that mistake doesn't just erase everything else. I mean, his contributions are absolutely undeniable. He is the father of modern pathology. He put the cell at the very center of medicine. He pioneered social health. Even with his one great error, the work he did laid the bedrock for how we understand and fight disease today. And really, that's what leaves us with this final, kind of tricky thought. Virchow's story is incredible because it shows us that even the most brilliant people can be flawed. His passion for social justice is what fueled his greatest discoveries, but it also became the very thing that blinded him to one of science's most important truths. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are our blind spots today?